Your countdown.
3,
Go ahead.
2, 1.
It's okay.
You can keep that in. I think it's great.
You say you think it's great?
Yeah.
I can't keep that in. It's the beginning of the thing.
Okay.
All right, welcome back to Mind Over Emotions, the podcast. I'm your host, Herc. And if you haven't already, as always, follow us on Instagram at Mind Over Emotions _VDP. Follow us on TikTok as well at Mind Over Emotions, the podcast. And while you're watching this video, make sure you hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. And for those of you guys who want the apparel, make sure you send me an email to at mindoveremotions@gmail.com. And the same thing if you want to be on the podcast. All right, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm pretty good, man. Uh, Before we start this podcast, she decided to make me laugh. So if you guys hear me giggling in the beginning, that's why. It's her fault. You
You're
nervous at
welcome.
all?
A little bit.
What makes you nervous?
I don't know what we're gonna post.
Is your life story, man? It's your story. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Name, age, where you from? Are you single? You got kids?
All right. Monique. I'm from New Bedford, Mass.
From where?
New Bedford,
Where's that at?
Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like 30 minutes south of Boston. I don't want to get called out if I say Boston. 29, single but dating.
Okay.
And no kids.
No kids. Do you want kids?
I do, but I have like 10 nieces and nephews, and I'm good.
But how old are you?
29.
29. You don't think that you're getting a little late in the
Oh
game?
no, I listen. If I hit 30 with no kids, I'm good.
Oh, when's your birthday?
May 14th.
So
I got. I got.
you got a little less than a year.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys out here, if you guys want kids and you want your kids to be multiracial, hit her up.
Don't.
You'll probably see at the beginning of this video her social media. Just go ahead and shoot her a DM. She don't really check them, but shoot her a DM. Maybe you get lucky. Uh, how was life for you growing up? Did you come from a 2-parent household?
I did not. My parents had me at 18.
Okay.
They were seniors in high school. Um, I mostly grew up like with both sets of my grandparents. My parents were still in school. My dad joined the military. My mom was in college. So my earliest like childhood memories were being with my grandparents most of the time.
Okay. Hold on. Back up a little bit. What's your nationality?
So I'm Black, Jamaican, Irish, and Puerto Rican.
Okay. It's odd because I think when it comes to black people, it's always so funny because Caucasian people,
Mm-hmm.
they'll be Caucasian, but they'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm Greek. And
Mm-hmm.
right. For the most part, black people will say I'm black, right?
Yeah.
Until you have to like distinguish between like American black, like
Mm-hmm.
Jamaican, African, all that. Like that's two different nationalities when
Yeah.
really you're just black.
Yeah.
Right. So you said you're black, Jamaican,
Irish,
Irish,
Puerto Rican.
and Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Do you speak Jamaican?
I don't. So the background on that is my mom was adopted.
Okay.
So she didn't know about her nationality. I believe I was like 11 or 12
Okay.
when she found her birth parents.
You speak Spanish?
When I was younger, I used to a little bit, and I lost it.
Well, it's like riding a bike. You get back on it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it's choppy.
Just-
It's bad.
She's speaking Spanglish there. So all you Latin guys out there, go ahead and slide into her DMs, but don't speak Spanish because she's not gonna know what you're talking about, and Google Translate is gonna fuck that up.
It is.
So how was life for you growing up though? Like growing up with your grandparents versus growing up with your actual parents?
I mean, I was the firstborn, so I was spoiled.
Okay.
So I didn't know anything other than being the spoiled grandchild. Man, I was a curious child. I was a bit of a tomboy. I like
Okay.
to fish. I like to be in the dirt and be outside. I was a bit of a loner, if you would. Um, my mom remarried or got into a relationship when I was around 5. So we moved in with her ex-husband. And that's when everything really shifted for me. And I lost that curiosity and lost that childlike wonder.
What
Um,
shifted?
he was abusive.
Okay.
Um, and he had a daughter. Um, Shout out to my stepsister. Um, and then my mom had my little brother when I was 7. So I became the older parentified sibling at a young age. So I, was helping take care of them and protecting them in a sense, if you would. Um, and also feeling as though I was like looking out for my mom, knowing what was happening in the household. Um, but I was a straight A student, and that was my escape from home. Um, I just put my head in books and school, and that was my
Uh,
thing.
how old were you when the abuse began?
Mm, 6.
You were 6.
Yeah.
Um, so as a 6-year-old kid, hold on, did the
Mm.
abuse last for like over a couple of years or something like that,
Yeah, they were together until I was 11.
and it lasted the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay. How did you cope with that as a kid? Like, how did you deal with that?
Um, School. That was my escape. That was my um at that time I was dealing with my dad had joined the military when I
Okay.
was 4. So he moved out here when I was 4. And so as a daddy's girl growing up, I was dealing with that loss of my dad.
Yeah.
And trying to get over that. And then, when my mom got remarried and I'm looking at this man as a stepdad and someone who's going to protect me and take care of me, um, only to find out like he's not that great of a man. Um, but what really kept me going was school. I was in figure skating. Um, my siblings.
How many
Um,
siblings do you have?
I'm the oldest of 5.
5. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How many girls?
2,
2 girls, 3 boys.
2 boys.
Oh, you have 2 other sisters.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Okay,
2 other
gotcha.
sisters and 2 other brothers.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you think that dealing with or going through that trauma as a kid, do you think that kind of like altered the way that you view men as
Oh
you grew
yeah,
up? In what kind
absolutely.
of ways?
I didn't trust them.
Do you still not
Um,
trust them?
you know, to an extent.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm learning that not everyone is him, right? I'm learning to trust people and look at their actions and not listen to their words. Um, I guess the other thing that might be a little toxic is also I don't allow them that close to me.
I was gonna
Um,
ask because I'm
yeah.
like I don't. I mean, you didn't divulge what kind of abuse it was,
Mhm.
and I'm not gonna pry that out of you, right? But I know you, so I know that you like both men and women.
Mhm.
Do you think that that's the one of the reasons why you went to liking women? It pushed you, not necessarily pushed you, but
Mhm.
kind of like swayed you to like women because obviously, as humans, we need affection, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you're gonna find the affection somewhere. And I mean, women are attractive people,
Yeah.
right? I think God did His best work when He made
Mhm.
women. But I was just curious. Do you think that that's one reason why you became bisexual?
Um, I don't know. I think I've had this question before, and I will say, like, I have never. I think I went through a period where I did label myself, um, but I look at people's hearts, right? So if you have a beautiful heart, and I think your spirit's beautiful, all the other things I don't really care about.
Okay.
Um, so as far as the label goes, I wouldn't say I'm bisexual. I would just say like, if you're a dope human and we have a dope connection, um, and we have great conversation, and we decide that we want to take the next step, I'm down. Um, but no, I don't think so. I mean, I think like my earliest memory of like I had a crush on Shania Twain. Don't ask. I don't know. But that was like I thought she was the most beautiful woman, and I do love her music. Um, and I was young. I was like 5 or 6. So yeah.
Okay. Um, so any of your family members know about the abuse?
Um, no. My mom was aware. I mean, our mine was different than hers. Mine was more of like an emotional, mental um, abuse. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Keep talking.
Um, and because I wanted to like protect her, in a sense, I didn't share much with her because I knew what she was going through, and I knew how like painful that would be if she knew what I was going through. Um, but no, I don't think any of it really came out until they split up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when it came out, what kind of like support did your family provide for you?
I started therapy when I was 11.
Okay. And do
Um,
you think that therapy was productive?
Hell yeah,
You still go to therapy?
absolutely.
Okay.
I'm an advocate for therapy. Like if you're not in therapy, I'm like you should just go and like check it out.
So before we get back to your story, when it
Mm.
comes to therapy, what is it about therapy that you think is very important?
Ooh. I always say, in a sense, I know it sounds funny, but you're like dating your therapist, right? Those first couple of sessions.
Okay.
Listen, hear me out. But you're like getting to know this person that you're like inviting into like the most vulnerable and transparent pieces of you.
Mhm.
Um, so making sure that you choose somebody who is like open, making sure that you're comfortable and that you're not just like paying for a session just to like sit there and like for someone to be like, okay, yep, sounds great. Let me like take some notes and give you homework.
Yeah.
Um, but someone that can really hear you and understand you is important.
So do you think that when it comes to therapy, do you think that it's more important for them to hear you, understand you,
Mm.
or to provide solutions?
Mm, I think it depends on the stage of where you are in healing.
Okay.
I think in the beginning it's important to be heard because some people just need to be heard in order to be like, wow, like someone sees me. Um, for them to get comfortable um, with somebody giving them solutions and actually wanting to try them. I think that takes like real trust because if I don't trust you and you tell me to do something, I'm not doing it.
True. But see, that's not like I tell people. I think I even told you,
Mm-hmm.
like the premise of when I started this podcast is that some people don't want to go to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Some people can afford therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I think that the consensus now is that you you need to talk,
Yeah.
right? Whether you're talking to a friend, family member, a
Mm-hmm.
therapist, or you even coming on the podcast to talk, it's important to begin your journey of healing,
Yeah.
right? Because if you you don't talk and you hold everything in, then it's just gonna all build up, and then you're gonna become distant from social environments.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna start feeling alone, and then you might start some self harm stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I started this podcast was for that reason. It's for to get people um, one platform to tell their story, to talk
Mm-hmm.
about whatever they want to talk about.
Yeah.
Because like I told you in the beginning, say it on podcasts all the time. I don't come with any kind of pre-written questions.
Yeah.
I pride myself on actively listening and just generating questions for a better understanding and to help you get your story out based off of what you're saying, right? So I totally agree that that I think in the beginning. Well, let me ask you this question: Do you think that in therapy, uh, there's a that you can have like say 3 months of therapy and
Mm-hmm.
you be quote unquote healed?
No.
I asked that question because I know of a situation. I'm not going to dive into it too deeply because
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the consent to do so. But I know of a situation where someone was in therapy for uh, roughly about 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then their therapist, it was state ordered
Okay.
for a minor. The therapist seen the child for about 90 days,
Mm-hmm.
and then the therapist said that, oh, she's fine now,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then we didn't believe that it was that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then the child was put back in therapy again. Then the same thing happened again. She was cleared from therapy, and then unfortunately, she's no longer here, right? And I remember that the discussions that we had about it was that there's no way that you can. I feel like, and this is coming from somebody who's not been in therapy before,
Yeah.
right? It's just to me, I feel like it's just kind of common sense. Is
Yeah.
that especially with dealing with a minor, is you have to get a baseline of where this person's at mentally, um, and then figure out. Obviously, the baseline that they're at right now is going to be way too low because obviously they're at a low state of mind. That's why they're in therapy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in order for you to know if they're healed, they have to show progression over a
Mm-hmm.
period of time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's no way that you can do that in 90
Yeah.
days, especially with a teenager, because we all know that teenagers are manipulative
Yeah.
and they will, especially if it wasn't their idea to go to therapy,
Yeah.
they're not gonna be happy about it.
Yeah.
They're gonna say what they gotta say to get
Mm-hmm.
out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like those therapists then drop the ball.
They
you know.
absolutely do.
So, um, now did anybody besides your family know about the trauma that you went through as a kid?
Mm,
Like any friends or anything like that?
no.
So during it, before the divorce, um, what kind of support did you have? I know you said you turned to school, you put your nose in the books, stuff like that. But outside of that, what kind of support system did you have?
I didn't have support as far as people that knew. Um, I think my support were my grandparents, really, and my family. They were my safety net.
Okay.
So they were a spot that I knew, like, if if I'm there, then I feel safe. Um, but then that also meant if I was there, then I didn't think my mom was safe. So then I would still have that anxiety of is my mom okay? Is my brother okay? Is my little sister okay? Um, yeah, I didn't.
Do you still have anxiety?
Oh yeah.
So I had a guest on here before that spoke about anxiety. He explained anxiety. Um, how do you manage your anxiety?
um, music. I listen to music. I go outside. Um, I will literally like take my shoes off and go sit in the grass if I really am feeling like overwhelmed. Um, Sometimes I rest. A lot of the time, it's like I'm a terrible sleeper, so I find that my anxiety is worse if I'm not getting like quality sleep. I'll go play pool. Um, I like put myself in spaces with people that I know like love and care about me to just like feel grounded.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just because you brought up the love word, I have to
Mm-hmm.
ask this question real quick. Which do you prefer,
Mm-hmm.
love or loyalty?
Ooh, love. Um,
You said love,
mhm.
so you would prefer love over loyalty?
I not over it. But I do think that when you love or have love, um, that loyalty is a part of that. In some sense, um, so not love over loyalty. I mean, but if you love somebody, I'm thinking that if you love someone, you're going to be loyal and you're going to be respectful. So I think love is like all encompassing.
Because I've said it multiple times that, and this is just my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
that if you really think about it, loyalty is the action of
Mm-hmm.
love,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because if you're loyal to somebody, then technically you truly love them
Yeah.
because you wouldn't be loyal to somebody who you don't love or you don't care about, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that it's possible to love someone and not be loyal to them.
Yeah.
But I think that if you if you're loyal to somebody, then you're gonna love them. I mean, well, in
Mm-hmm.
certain aspects, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But like for most part, like like if you have a partner,
Mm-hmm.
and they're loyal to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that somebody showing me their loyalty every day would mean more to me than them telling me every day that they love me.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. I do also think love is an action.
Love itself is action.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like you can, I love you, but what does that look like? Like,
Loyalty.
how do you, yeah. So that's why I'm saying love over loyalty for
Yeah.
me, because if you're telling me that you love me, I want your actions to align with that.
Okay.
Because love isn't just like, hey, I made you breakfast. It's like, I can see that you had a long day. So I did X, Y, and Z. And um, I mean, I love is a lot of different things, but yeah, love over loyalty.
Okay. It's just a little fun question I like to ask, just to pick people's brains and see because we're all different, So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of one, the explanations are always kind of interesting,
Mm-hmm.
but two, it's kind of weird to see people's responses to which one they
Yeah.
think. Cause I just for sure thought you were gonna say loyalty. So when you said love, I was like, but I get it.
Yeah.
How were you in high school? How would your classmates describe you in high school?
I'm goofy. I was really goofy in high
Okay.
school. Um, I mean, I was still for the most part, straight A's and B's. I got one C like my junior year, and that ruined me. I was hurt. Um, I was goofy. I played sports, or a sport. I played field hockey.
Field hockey?
Mm-hmm. It's like it's
Is
like
that like a only like Baltimore thing? You say you're from Baltimore?
New Bedford, Mass.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
Boston.
Boston.
Yeah.
Boston. Sorry.
Um, I don't know. I do think it's more of an East Coast sport, but it's like hockey, but in the grass.
So you guys are using sticks and a puck in the grass,
Mm-hmm. No, it's a.
like a little ball.
It looks like a. Yeah, it is a ball. It's a wooden ball. and
Okay.
it hurts. Um, and yeah, the stick is like a J, a wooden J.
Okay.
Um,
How'd you get into that?
I I don't remember. I just was excited, and I was already on the ice, like I was a figure skater.
Oh yeah, true.
Just something that was similar, and it was fun.
I never did figure skating, but I did do ice skating.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, I learned how to ski roughly around the same time that I learned how to ride a bike.
Oh wow,
Because I was born,
fancy.
I was born in Fairbanks, Alaska, and I
Okay.
lived there until I was probably like I think I was like 6 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I remember we learned how to ski. That was like it was weird. Like I remember skiing, and then the only memories I have from riding a bike was there was these hills in front of our house, and
Mm-hmm.
we would. My mom didn't want us to do it, but we would ride our bikes on these hills, and we even named them. Let me see if I can remember. Hold on.
Name the hills.
Yeah, we did. We're kids, right? And so one of the hills was like a cliff. It was like
Mm-hmm.
you just drop off
Mm-hmm.
into like this grass area. We call that Killer Hill.
Okay.
Um, the one that we learned how to ski on, we called it Slippy Dippy
Okay.
because it was so funny. We're trying to walk up with our skis,
Yeah,
and people are slipping down, and this is like a tumble effect.
that is funny.
I think the other one was called Butt Breaker. Uh,
Butt breaker.
yeah, because it was super slippery, obviously, because we're in Alaska, it's
Okay.
icy, right?
Yep.
But the whole time it's like bouncy, and we're
Okay.
on sleds, and like
Oh, I
so. It's,
miss sledding.
yeah, I know I've been sledding forever. I'd probably be scared to
Mm,
sled. Um,
yeah.
but I remember doing those. That's the only thing I remember about riding my bike down those hills. But skiing, for some reason, I remember skiing very well, and I picked up on it pretty fast too. So I remember that.
I don't know
So,
how to ski. That scares me.
what brings you to the West Coast, to Washington?
Um, Man, I moved out here when I was 18.
Okay,
So like right after high school, I think I had just graduated. I graduated in 14. And I moved out here in March of 15. Um, I will say that year leading up to me moving out here was really rocky.
okay.
Um, I was pretty traumatized due to my like previous relationship. Um, I was making some really shitty decisions.
You're
Um,
18, so I
yeah, I was
think we all did.
rough around the edges. Um, and so my last resort was to move out here and like really get my shit together.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was gonna ask too, as you brought relationships up.
yeah.
I know you said you dealt with the trauma from 6 to 11.
Mhm.
At what age were you when you got your first boyfriend or girlfriend?
Um,
Did you date a girl first or a boy
I,
first?
I did.
Okay.
No, I did. I dated a boy in like middle school. Um, I don't know what I was thinking. Who has a boyfriend in middle school? Um, so that one didn't really count. He was in eighth grade and I was in sixth grade, and we only saw each other at like school dances.
Oh
It
wow.
was corny. Um, but no, I had like this little girlfriend in high school, and I hadn't told my mom. And I do come from a very open and accepting family, so I wasn't afraid to tell her anything. Um, but I remember walking into her job, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go sleep at my girlfriend's house." And she's like, "Okay, have fun." And then that was it. Like there was no like she didn't ask any questions. There was never when I did actually have my first girlfriend, there was never like a conversation. There was never a "Are you sure?"
What do you think that was? Do you think that was just like she trusted you?
Um yeah, and I my mom knows my heart and just knows that I'm a free spirited like kid. Um I also like my uncle. I've only known my uncles. I have uncles that have been married for as long as I've been alive, which is my mom's brother. So I think we're just a very open family. Um, so she's like, "All right, kid, like have fun." I went to my first drag show when I was 14, so it was like, I know
How
it
was
was
that?
great. It was so much fun.
I bet you did think it was fun. I got invited to one. I didn't like it.
Oh, whatever.
I did not.
You just have to like just enjoy it.
It was just kind of weird, but we're not gonna get into all that.
Okay.
So when you dated your first boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
did you ever have one of those like oh shit moments? Like, and what I mean by that is like, oh, it's like PTSD type thing. Like you start like, having flashbacks and
Mm-hmm.
like make you like kind of like scared to even be around him. Did you ever have that kind of stuff?
Um, I don't think so. I mean, we were at like my high school, sweetheart in the beginning of high school. Um, I don't think scared was the word. I do think, I mean, I was also like 14, 15. So healed wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Um, we were in all the same classes. We were together every single day. Um, I mean, he was great. I mean, he's great now. But we were young and doing stupid things. So,
Would you consider yourself to be healed now?
um, sorry. I
No,
can
no cough,
edit that
no
out.
coughing on the podcast.
Don't do that.
No.
Um, when I reflect on where I was a year ago, I'm leaps and bounds ahead of that. Um, I don't know if anyone's ever going to be truly 100% healed. I think as we like really dive down into who we are at our core, start to come up,
Yeah.
and it's just a continuous like journey of like, okay, like finding yourself and healing your inner child. And I will say my inner child, like that has been my priority. And I will say, I'm really proud of like how much work I've done
There you go.
healing her.
There you go. It's funny you say that too because I truly believe that because it's always funny when people say that they be in a relationship and then like they be like, oh no, they're not, they can't be doing that or that can't be true because I know them, and I'm like, you really don't even know
No.
yourself. You're
Mm-mm.
constantly, always constantly growing and
Mm-hmm.
adapting and changing. So we're constantly, like you said, we're constantly
Mm-hmm.
like literally unraveling layers of ourselves,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that as long as you're constantly doing that, I think that you're on the right path. I
Yeah.
think if you get to a point where of complacency, where you think that you know yourself and you think that I'm good,
Yeah.
I think that that's kind of becomes scary
Yeah.
because you're no longer progressing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you're literally you're closing back up.
Yeah.
You're turning into a shell. That's just my opinion. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think the same thing. I think once you stop trying to heal, um, being stagnant is like the worst thing for you to do. Um, no, you don't get to experience like these new pieces of yourself. And I think that's been my favorite thing is like experiencing like new parts of myself that I don't think I would have ever found if I didn't do the healing and go to therapy and have the hard conversations and cry and scream and all the things in between. Um, yeah, but I think complacency is like the worst thing that you can do.
Do you think that while you're on your journey to healing and while you're learning yourself and unraveling these layers of yourself, that's why you're still just dating instead of actually settling down with somebody?
Um, yes and no. I mean, I was with someone for 5 years. We were engaged. We haven't been together for about 2 years now.
Okay.
Um, and so this like dating is like it's a different version of me. I dated well, we got together when I was 22, I believe. Um, and that was my longest relationship. Um, and so
You guys
as
were engaged?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you called it off or he called it off?
she
She called it off?
no, we were I mean, we some things happened, so it was a mutual decision, but I think when you start dating that young, like 22 is young,
Yeah.
really, especially with some of the traumas I've gone through and some of the things she had gone through. Um, it was more of a um, like trauma bond,
Okay.
and not to say, I mean,
Do you feel like trauma bonds are like a positive or a negative? Do you think they? Because I feel like
mm,
sometimes they can become dangerous.
I they are dangerous because you're not really yourself and you're not like connected to the true person that you're with.
Yeah.
You're connected to the chaos and the trauma and the thinking that they see you, but they really only see the broken pieces of you.
Okay, I can see that. Cause see, I was thinking of a different aspect. I was thinking of you guys are really just only together because it's like a comfort thing,
Yeah.
right? And you because you guys share a similar, either similar or the same
Yeah.
type of trauma, so you
Mm-hmm.
guys are connected through that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel like it's dangerous because you never progress past it.
Yeah.
Because one of you guys are gonna, because when we're healing and we're going through stuff, we kind of like we always go back to like it pops up sporadically. Like we'll
Yeah.
be good, and then it'll be like you have a sad day,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you turn to your support system, and
Mm-hmm.
then that person that you're trauma bonding with is your support system, right? So while like let's just say hypothetically, me and you were in a trauma bonding relationship, right? You're doing good, but now the trauma is hitting me today. So I come to you and I'm like, hey, I bring the trauma back up. Now that just took you back two
Yeah.
steps. And then while you just went back 2 steps, you just helped me move forward 2 steps. But then 2 weeks later, it's just like a you never really move
Yeah.
forward. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just my perspective. So I kind of always, try to suggest people to kind of stick away from doing that. Don't let that be the premise of your relationship. We all been through
Can you
things, but
cut this? I'm gonna cough.
you're good. Go ahead.
My God, it's the fan. I'm
It's
sorry.
okay to have emotions.
Oh, stop it.
I'm not editing any of this out.
Oh, fuck.
All right, guys. If you guys are still watching, you guys go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on Instagram at @minorEmotions_VDP, and it's on TikTok as well at Minor Emotions the podcast. On Instagram and on TikTok, I mainly just drop shorts and reels to kind of give you guys sneak peeks into the episodes that are coming out, and just to kind of keep mental health and keep the podcast in the forefront of your mind. But also, before we get back into this topic, I wanted to say to you guys, I appreciate you guys' support, and make sure as always you guys are checking up on each other. So back to the trauma bonding, right? Do you think that trauma bonding relationships, do you think that they actually can be successful and that you both can heal together and move forward?
I think so.
What kind of steps do you think you have to take to do that, though?
I think identifying your traumas, your own traumas away from your partner, are important. Like making sure that you're in therapy, not couples therapy, individualized therapy before you start couples therapy. That is huge.
Why do you think that's huge before you move
Because
forward?
I think a lot of the problems that people think they have as a couple aren't couples problems. They're individual
That they're bringing into
problems. But when you come together, then you guys are bumping heads. But it's really because you have something that needs to be addressed. You have something that needs to be addressed. And then you come together and you're like this. And once you work on that individually, I think couples therapy is then good because you've already healed certain pieces of yourself. And now you can really identify, like, was this a couples thing, or was this a me thing, or was this a you thing? So heal yourself before couples therapy.
Okay. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
What was the question I was about to ask you? You threw me off with that.
What was my cough?
No, not
Oh.
the cough. Just your trauma bonding. That's what it was. We were talking about your relationship.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever get engaged again?
Ooh.
Let me ask you this. Think about it. Has somebody asked you since that?
Heck no.
No.
Mm-mm.
Have you been in a committed serious relationship since that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just gonna.
Okay. All right.
It was short lived.
Okay.
No one has asked me. No. If someone were to ask me right now, I'd be like, hell no.
Well, no, because you're still dating.
Yeah. Maybe. My idea of marriage, if you would, is not your typical, like, let's go down to the courthouse and sign a paper. And I do believe in partnership. I'm not the girl who's like dreaming about the wedding dress and the wedding and all the things. But I would like a life partner. Okay. Whether or not we walk down the aisle, if we don't want to do that, I won't do that. Would it be nice to have a sparkly diamond? Hell yeah. Okay.
So let me ask you this: if you're dating a woman, who buys the ring?
I don't really think there's a rule. I mean, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's confusing. Like, who's buying the ring? Who's you getting on one knee? What if she feels the same way? She's not getting on one knee. Y'all just gonna be walking through life and be like, I want to get married, but she ain't gonna ask me.
I am. I'd be happy if it was like, hey, so like, you want to get married? I'd be like, hell yeah. You want to get married? Hell yeah. Like, I don't
casually.
Yeah. Okay. I don't need all the fancy things. I mean, I would love to like elope.
Elope? Okay.
I don't.
You go to Vegas?
No.
Elvis
is not going to marry us. Absolutely not. But I do want to be outside. I would want like my, maybe it's not eloping if my siblings come, but something small, something intimate. I don't need the big party and all the food and all the people. Like, that gives me anxiety. But yeah, something small, and I don't require much. All right. Just good food.
So this is the part of the episode where the conversation is going to change a little bit.
Okay.
First, we're going to have you spin the wheel.
Okay.
All right.
Oh boy.
So you can go ahead and spin it.
Okay.
For all of our new viewers and subscribers, I'll explain to them the wheel as you spin it. So go ahead and spin it. So pretty much this wheel contains 8 different topics. Each one of these topics, she nicknamed the wheel before she got here, or before we started the episode. She called it the trauma wheel.
The trauma wheel.
So pretty much it has 8 different topics on it, and basically each topic will, I guess you can say, try to get an understanding of who you are
Mm-hmm.
and the things you've been through. Because like I said before, the premise of this podcast is to tell your story with hopes that somebody who watches it can relate to what you've been through, and hopefully you can give some kind of advice of how you cope with it, how you got through it, and hopefully it helps somebody to put something in their toolbox to keep moving forward. So let's see what you landed on.
Are you gonna look first, or can I look first?
You can read it. You can read it out loud. What is it? What does it say? Don't be changing.
No, sorry. I was I was trying to read it because some of it's wiped off. Emotional and physical abuse.
Oh man. So
Oh,
basically,
sweet baby Jesus. Okay.
yeah. So basically, talk about a time where you experienced emotional or physical abuse. I know you spoke about the one with your dad. You can go more detail about that one, or you can choose something different. So basically, what you do is you just talk about, like I said, a time where you experienced emotional or physical abuse. Explain what happened if in your own extent of details, how you want to go into it, but then explain us as well what kind of support system you had to get through it, what you did to how you coped with it, and how do you feel about it, and how it affects you today.
Yeah. So I won't go back down to like my mom's ex-husband because that is something that I've like made peace with. But in high school, my boyfriend in high school, my junior and senior year was abusive,
Okay.
emotionally and physically. And yeah. Um, I was the straight A student that liked bad boys. And he was the bad boy. Um, Started dating and I was head over heels. Um, and I don't remember timeline, honestly, of like when it first started, but I remember it being small, like don't be friends with them and don't talk to them. And, if I didn't call by a certain time, he was upset. And the first time he ever put his hands on me, I was walking away from him and he grabbed me. We were outside and his neighbor saw and asked if I needed help. And I was 16 at the time. And I said no, because I will tell you, I thought I could handle anything by myself.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend at the time and him started going at it. And further down the road, I had found out that at some point there was a gun involved and he had gone back with his brothers and shot at the house a couple weeks after that. But I didn't find out about that until like a year later when we were going through our own court proceedings. It was hard. I mean, when you're in it, you don't realize how bad it is. I mean, he broke my nose, fractured my collarbone. I can't even tell you how many concussions I probably had. And I was in school. So I was trying to maintain my grades. I was working, so I was trying to maintain my job. He would require me to be on the phone with him almost 24/7, like in my pocket. I was scared. I, at one point, remember sitting there and not planning life after 18. Or not like looking forward while people were like talking about college and their jobs. And I remember sitting there like, he's going to kill me. And it got to the point of like, I didn't want him to kill me. So it was either I do it or he does it. Because I knew that it was getting to that point of I wasn't going to be there. Um, I had notes. I had things in my phone. Um, I was scared, and but I was also the older sister, and I was also the, not so much straight A's anymore, but like, I was great in school, and um, I was the giggly and fun one out of the group, and the lover, and just like the one full of joy. But behind closed doors, I was petrified. Um, yeah.
So, during this time when all this was going on, what kind of things? I know you were scared, so
Yeah.
and you started to think about, you know, uh, unaliving yourself.
Yeah.
Um, what kind of like what helped you get through it?
My mom,
Okay.
she was unaware um, of what was going on. He It started to get really bad, and at that point I recognized that it wasn't just like anger. There was some underlying something else going on mentally with him,
Mhm.
for it to be to the extent that it was at. Um, and he had broken my nose, I believe it was like the week prior. Um, and he showed up at my house, but I had told my mom, I think I told her like I pulled something out of the closet and hit me in the face, because it was like visibly in my eyes. My nose was swollen and cut right across the bridge, and he showed up at my house. Um, and when he was there, I just blurted out like, "Why don't you tell my mom what you did?" And that began the restraining order and the court proceedings, and we went to trial. Because then I just let it all out. Um, my mom worked at the police station in the town that I grew up in and was there a majority of my childhood. Um, and so I was almost like embarrassed to tell my mom, which is not a good term to use, but I was scared like these people that I grew up with are going to know
Yeah.
these pieces of me. Um, and I remember that night she took me to the police station, um, to write a report and to show them the bruises and the scratches. And the very next day, we got a restraining order. We had to go down to the courthouse. Um, and I went back after that. Um,
Oh, you went back to where?
him.
Okay.
Um, he lived across the street from the school. I didn't have any friends. It's almost like if was aware of where he was and what he was doing, I felt safer. Um, excuse me. Um, because when you don't know where he's at, um, he actually broke into my house one time when my mom was out of town, and
While you were home.
I wasn't home,
Okay.
and he stayed in my house for a weekend while my mom was gone. My stepdad was there. Um, I at that point, and I didn't even know what to do. I was like, what do I do? My mom wasn't home. My stepdad was there. He said he was staying there to like basically keep an eye on me. Um, and I was, yeah, 16. He was 17, a year older than me. Um, so I went back to something that was familiar because as unsafe as I felt, it felt safer than not knowing what his next move was.
Uh, just for clarity reasons.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So you said that he stayed at the house for a weekend,
Yeah.
and your stepdad was there. Is this
My
the same?
No, 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 no.
Okay, so that's what I was
My
about to
sister
say.
said no,
I was gonna say, hold,
no.
that's got to be really scary.
No.
Okay. Whew. Um. So, have you ever seen this guy again after that?
Um, no, actually, I haven't. We after trial, I believe he did like 3 months. Um, I saw him like one time outside, but I never like we haven't. We spoke one time after our restraining order lifted, um, and that was it.
Okay.
And
He's never trying to reach out to you again or anything like that. Do you think that if, let's just say, you're walking through Walmart and you've seen him,
yeah,
do you think that you're at a point in life where you're
Mm.
healed from that and that you'll be okay, or do you think it'd be triggering?
I would be triggered.
Okay.
I'd like to think, I've played that scenario in my head so many times, um, especially when I go back home. I'd like to think that I'd be okay, but I know that if I saw him, I think I would just stand there, and I don't know if I'd be. I think I would just freeze, honestly.
Yeah, I've never been through anything like that, but I know a couple of people who have been through some trauma like that, to where they're like they don't walk around scared,
Yeah,
but um, certain things or certain people, if they see them or they're around that thing or whatever, it kind of like triggers them,
yeah,
and to the point, like you said, like they freeze, like they kind of like go into like a super and I don't know the proper word to say, but like major anxiety, to the point where like they pass out or something
yeah,
like that, right? And I just unfortunately I find that to be really unfortunate,
yeah,
because that's no way to live, and I don't think that people sometimes understand the impact of the things that they say, the things
mm-hmm.
that they do to other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we just have to all be more conscious of the way that we treat people, the way we talk to them and stuff like that. So like even with like my niece
Mm-hmm.
who passed away, um, she went through a phase, not a phase, but um, she had a boyfriend or a guy that she was dealing with, who would say things to kind of like manipulate her and to um, control her and to like just kind of like press her buttons.
Yeah,
Um, and you know, I'll say this on camera because I don't care. Uh, he's probably one of the reasons why that put. I will say not the reason that caused it,
yeah,
but he's probably the reason that pushed her
yeah.
over the edge. So she's no longer here with us.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
and that's just been kind of like one of the things that I've pushed to people since then.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of always knew it, but I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really push it.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, and seeing the true effects of what could really happen,
Yeah,
I really tell people like, I'm really kind of conscious about what I say. I used to be a big shit talker
yeah,
and just kind of like, but I kind of realized like, like you don't know what someone's going through at home,
yeah.
and like how you were saying, like you're at school, you're the bubbly one, you're the fun one,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the outgoing person, but then at home you're terrified, you're stuff like that, and so you don't know what people are really going through, and 90% of the time you're never gonna really truly know,
Yeah,
because most people, they don't want to talk, they want to talk,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and they just don't think that people really care to
Yeah.
listen, right? Or they just think that you're being nosy, and so
Mm-hmm.
like, and plus that's trauma, so letting them in is kind of like really
It's
vulnerability.
scary. Yeah.
So I just try to now for sure. Can't speak about the past. So anybody who's watched this and know me back in the day, like, Herc, you're lying, man. You were talking shit to me. I probably did.
Mm-hmm.
But the current me,
Mm-hmm.
I try to be really conscious about how I speak
Yeah.
and how the
Yeah.
things, interactions I make with just even strangers, because um, currently, I work at the bar,
Mm-hmm.
security. Like I try to do, and I don't know, maybe you've been in there, so you can attest to this. I try to do everything I can to make the people around me laugh,
Yeah.
make people around me smile. Um, I don't do like goofy stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like try to talk to you and try to bring a smile to you,
Yeah.
because I think that a smile is healthy and it goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds you that this world does have happiness in it.
Yeah.
You just kind of got to find it and you got to choose it. Do you believe that happiness is a choice, or you think it's
Mm.
a state of mind? Like,
I think it's a little bit of both. Um, I do believe being happy is a choice. You have to wake up every day and choose your heart, if you would. Like, do I want to be down in the dumps and do I want to be sad and angry? Or do I want to choose happiness and choose peace? Um, and once you choose that and really embody it, then I think it becomes a way of life.
what do you think about men expressing emotions?
I love that.
And
Um,
okay, to what extent though?
I love the most like vulnerable and raw versions of people, regardless of what you identify as. Um,
Before we get into that a little bit
mm,
more, I'm just curious because I've never had a bisexual on this
mm,
episode, so or this podcast. So, when you're
Bisexual is crazy.
huh? So no, because I just kind of want to understand.
Mhm.
So when you look for a woman, do you look for like uh, a woman with masculine tendencies,
Mhm.
or do you look for like a super feminine woman?
Mhm. So it's funny. I feel like I just had this conversation. I have dated women that are more masculine presenting, um, but still have that softness.
Okay.
Um, and I mean, same with men, but like I do like men that are in tune with their emotion and can have a intellectual and emotional conversation. Um, but I also have a tendency to date some folks that can be a little bit emotionally unavailable. So
Emotionally unavailable.
yeah.
So okay, so see, this is a good conversation because I had this conversation the other day about this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that before you go into a relationship, that it's very important to make sure that the person that you're talking to is emotionally available?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Because the guest that I had on here before, he spoke on that.
Mm-hmm.
He said that's one of the main things that is, in order for a relationship to thrive,
Mm-hmm.
is that you need that.
Yeah.
Um, so, but I was going to ask, and you kind of hit on it already. I was going to ask, what when it comes to men,
Mm-hmm.
if you look for a masculine presenting woman with
Mm-hmm.
a soft side to her,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of man do you look for? Do you look for like a super dominant alpha guy? I'm assuming no. Or do you look or do you look for a guy who possesses masculinity
Mm-hmm.
but also has no quarrels with expressing emotions?
Yeah. I and that's the other thing. Like looking, I don't like go out and search.
No, I'm
But
saying like I'm just saying like
yeah,
the guy who approaches
yeah.
like if a guy approaches you and he just gives off like because there's some people out there, like women out there, who like a guy who approaches that is masculine, but
Mm-hmm.
you could tell like he's okay with talking about
Mm-hmm.
feelings and stuff like that. The woman might get turned off, right? But
Mm-hmm.
there's there's women who like that. There's
Yeah.
also women who like men who are like super like, oh yeah, I'm alpha at all times and
Mm-mm.
I don't have emotions and you guys are
Like
just weak
get
and you know
get out of here.
yeah. I
Yeah.
I tell people, I say this, man, listen. If God didn't want you as a man to express emotions, he would have took away your tear ducts when you were able to talk.
Yeah.
Because before you learn how to talk, the only way to communicate was through tears,
Yep.
right? Once you learn how to talk, he would have said, "Okay, remove those tear ducts and you don't have
Yep.
emotions no more."
Yep.
But instead, he gave you the ability to have emotions.
Mm-hmm.
He gave you the ability to express those
Mm-hmm.
emotions. So why are you going to let somebody who didn't make you tell you that you can't express them?
Yeah. I love just individuals in general that can talk about how they feel and understand where that's coming from, and be open to conversation. Um, I love a good intellectual conversation.
At,
Whether go
at
ahead.
what extent do you think that uh, a man's emotions becomes dangerous, or like I won't say
Mm,
dangerous, too much? I guess you could say like
hmm.
you're expressing too much.
I don't really think there's a point. I mean, I feel like if you in that moment feel like what you're doing is beneficial, who am I to tell you it's too much? I don't know what you're feeling. I don't know what you've experienced. I don't know. Again, like I don't know who you are fully. I'm here to hold space. So if you want to cry, I mean, do it. If you want to,
Well, I'm speaking from like a man that you're intimate with,
mm, okay.
right? Like a man that who you're trying to either date
Mm-hmm.
or build a future with.
Mm-hmm.
Like if let's just say you had a serious boyfriend and he came home and was like, "Hey, Mo," and then he just eventually began to cry.
Mm-hmm.
At what point does it become like a turnoff?
I mean, that's hard. I don't. I'm trying to like picture like even just like my current situation. Like if that were to happen, I think at that point I would shift into, um, not his partner, but just another human that's holding space for him, and
Okay.
not look at it as like, dang, like my man's over here like sobbing about, because I think that's a huge disservice, and I think that is part of the reason why men don't open up. Because if I go home and I sit on the couch and sob, and my like, oh yep, she's crying again, like here's some ice cream. But if he came home and did that, I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, like what are you crying about? No,
Yeah.
like what do you need? You want me to leave you alone? You want me to sit with you? You want a snack? Like, um, I think we have to get away from it being a turnoff. Like, you can express, but I can't. I think that's hugely unfair. And that's why men keep things in, because they're not allowed to have a breakdown in front of a woman or women that they think are safe spaces, because we're telling them, like, oh, that's not manly of you. Like, it is manly for you to
Yeah.
cry or yell, or, um, choose a healthy coping mechanism. Um, but I think it's important when that happens to just shift into being another human being that loves them. Yeah.
I totally agree, and I'd say it all the time. I think that the person who is casting the whole "it's too much" or
Yeah.
you're wrong for the emotion, I think that they have something deep rooted within
Absolutely.
them that they need to address,
Yeah.
because a lot of, and I'm not here to bash women. We're just on the topic. In my opinion, I think that a lot of women they want it two ways,
Mm-hmm.
right? They want you to be, oh, I want you to be soft, a romantic person, da 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 da, all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff, right? Those are emotions,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then when it's something serious that has to
Yeah.
do with your mental health and your true feelings and what you're going through on a daily life basis, keep that in. I don't want that. I
Yeah.
want only the emotions that benefit me.
Yeah.
But at that point, I think that it goes kind of go back to emotionally available.
Mm-hmm.
That person who's doing that, I personally feel like they're not emotionally
Yeah.
available, and that's why they want the things that
Yeah.
benefit them to fill their cup, but
Yeah.
they don't want nothing to come from theirs. You
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm saying? Because they probably have nothing to give
I was
anyway.
gonna say, like, it's too much pressure for them to, like, okay, like, now what do I do? Like,
Yeah,
they don't have the capacity to, like, oh, let me just, like, pat you on your back. I'm like, all right. Um, but again, like, if you love that person, right? Like, you separate from that and let them do what they need to do. And I think there's a beauty in, like, being with somebody and allowing them to be raw and transparent and vulnerable with you. I think that builds trust, and that builds, um, shit, we're just a bunch of, like, pieces of flesh. Like, we're just like,
yeah.
so when you have those moments with people, you build a real, like, connection with them. Um, and that's rooted in trust, and that's rooted in safety. And I think that's how we create, like, functioning members of society, and become, like, leaders for our kids too. So
Do you think? Because I'm pretty sure you probably heard this. People say this that nowadays men are not the same; they're weaker.
I have heard that.
Do you believe that the reason why men are weaker now is because they've held in too much stuff and they're not allowed to express their emotions?
Yeah.
Because I believe that you think about it, right? When you are emotional, when you're going through things, if you have no way to express those emotions, you bottle it up, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have two ways to go. Either one, you become explosive,
Mm-hmm.
right, or you become super sappy,
Mm-hmm.
right. Same thing with men,
Yeah.
right. And so I'm not here to make excuses, especially not to you because of what you've been through. So I'm just speaking in
Yeah.
general, right.
Yeah.
Um, I think that that's why some men become abusive,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, and it's not because of the person that they're with,
Yeah.
but because of things that they've been through,
Absolutely.
right? And I think that's why some men they're just like not emotionally available and they're super soft and they're just come off as like these super crybaby
Yeah.
dudes, um, because they just have they can't hold it in. I mean, we're vessels, right? And just like this cup, it can hold up to 8 ounces, 12 ounces of water, or whatever the case
Mm-hmm.
may be, right? Our body can only hold so much. Our mind can only hold so much.
Yeah.
At some point, it becomes a boiling point,
Yeah.
and eventually, it's going to boil over,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's just a matter of how it boils over,
Mm-hmm.
But if we choose partners that are, not thinking of a me, 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 they're
Yeah.
thinking of a us, 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 and
Yeah.
this is for the better of you
Mm-hmm.
and the better of me, and ultimately the better of us, then I'll give you an example, right, to make it more concise, right? So for me in a relationship, right, if the person that I'm with, whatever she's going through, I'm gonna go through it with her,
Mm-hmm.
walk side by side, right,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because life's like a ladder, right? And so have you ever climbed a ladder before?
Yeah.
Do you see how hard it is for you to climb the ladder by
Yeah.
yourself? So imagine if you have to drag the other person up with you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I feel like that we should be stepping up in this ladder at the same pace at the same time, right? And that doesn't mean that if when we get together, I'm on step 4 and you're on step 2 that we're not compatible. that just means that when I'm going to step 5, you need to be going to step 3.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Not
Yeah.
going backwards or standing still because now I have to drag you up.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you think that that makes sense?
Oh, absolutely. Um, I mean, I feel like that's similar to like some situations I've been in where, I don't want to be stagnant. So I'm continuing like therapy and the homework and having hard conversations and really like zooming in on things that I can improve on. And the other individual is just like, I like it where I'm at.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna stay here and I'm on step 10 and you're on 2, I'm not waiting for you to get up here.
Yeah.
like
I believe that's where it comes from in life, where they say that sometimes you have to close one door to open another,
mhm.
or
Yeah.
everybody's not meant for every season.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Because
that's the one.
yeah, because maybe when I was on step 4 and you were on step 2, we're closer. So maybe
Mhm.
you were for that moment to help me get to step 5,
Mhm.
right? But maybe when I got to step 5, you were comfortable being at step 2, and so now I need to find somebody who's on step 3,
Yeah.
or step 4, maybe step 5 with me, or
Yeah.
maybe above me,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this too, while we're on dating. Do you think that two alpha woman and an alpha male can coexist?
Ooh. I don't know. I would like to think so. Because I believe that all things work out, but I don't know. I really don't know. Um, I like to think that they could work out, but I don't know if
How
I've.
if you was to think about it, an alpha woman and an alpha male,
Mhm.
how would it work? If it was to work, what do you think would have to happen in order for it to work?
I mean, I think someone would have to. There would have to be a lot of compromising. I believe, um, and I think alpha women. I would want to know why, because I don't think I've ever really encountered like a whole bunch of alpha women. I mean, I have, but then I also see them in relationships, and I see the soft side, and I see the submissiveness. Um, but I do believe that if you're an alpha woman presenting, that when you have a man that takes care of you emotionally, and let me rephrase, I don't not taking care of you, but you're being cared for. Um, that is when that more soft, um, submissive side comes out. Um,
It's natural.
yeah. So they could work out if he brings out that side because y'all can go out and be presenting as two alphas, but she knows like you're my safety, um, and she's able to be soft. So it could work. Yeah.
So if I was to say that the only way that two alphas could be together would be that in order for that woman who's alpha, she would have to turn off or suppress her alphaness in the presence of her man. Do you think that's correct?
A little friend. I don't like to use the word turn off because I think
That's why I
it.
said suppress it. Like
Yeah,
you know,
I
like
think suppress. I mean, I think it comes naturally. Like when I think of it, because I wouldn't necessarily call myself alpha woman, but I do know I have stronger energy. Um, but I do know when I'm in the presence of, even now, like someone who makes me feel safe, I literally just like can switch it off and just be calm. Like I'm safe. I make this joke like, oh, I just shut off my brain when I'm here. Like I don't have to worry about anything.
yeah.
And so I don't even feel like I'm suppressing it. I maybe suppress like to me has like this negative connotation, but um, I just have the ability to turn it off, and it feels good.
I agree because I feel like this, right? If you're a alpha, true alpha male,
Mhm.
right? Um, it's in every woman's natural proclivity to want to be
Yeah,
um feminine,
yeah,
right? That's how you are built. So I feel like a lot of women become alpha for two reasons. One, because their job requires it,
yeah.
or two, because they have no alpha male.
Mm-hmm.
So they have somebody has to lead.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has to do something. If not, you're not going anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be scatterbrained like chickens with your head cut off, right? So maybe she was a single mom
Yeah.
and she raised her kids and took care of the household for years,
Mm-hmm.
and then now she decided to be dating and she finds this really good alpha male that's a really good man, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's an alpha. Um, and obviously she's gonna probably struggle to be vulnerable enough to turn it off, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is on the guy side is most guys walk around and they say like, I'm an alpha male, I'm masculine, I'm this, and they try to force that upon their woman to believe that,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I feel like alphaness is a presence
Yeah.
you give off, right?
Yeah.
So like you were saying, if you're cared for, if you had an alpha male and he just the energy, the presence that he
Yeah.
he possessed, it will make you naturally fall back into
Mm-hmm.
your femininity, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is most men try to a lot, not most, but there's a lot of men who try to force their
Mm-hmm.
alphaness out
Mm-hmm.
onto the projected onto the woman.
Mm-hmm.
And one, that's from what I've the consensus I've come with, that's a turnoff.
Yeah.
Two, when you do that, it's usually because you're trying to cover up something,
Yeah.
right? So I just think that the only way that it could work would be that the man will have to be true to his alphaness
Mm-hmm.
in a positive alphaness,
Mm-hmm.
right? And allow that woman to feel safe enough
Yeah.
to fall back, relax into her femininity,
Yeah.
right? And then allow her to still have alpha presence
Yeah.
in a feminine role.
Yeah.
If you cannot do that, then you just need to find you a super submissive woman
Mm-hmm.
who's going to say, yes, Pa.
Okay. Anything else, Sarah?
Yeah, that's how I truly feel about it.
Yeah.
And I'm always curious because I see it today's day. There's a lot of alpha women. There's a lot of women out here who just they're put in roles where they have to lead.
Yeah.
In the workplace, I think that's super dope to have
Yeah.
women leading to an extent.
Yeah.
Just depends on what the role is. I mean, what the job is.
Yeah.
But I think it's also that we also have a lot of men who don't know how to lead. Um,
Or they think they know, or society or social media tells them how they're supposed to lead.
yeah, that's the biggest mistake you can.
Mm.
I tell people this, man. Um, Social media is the biggest lie
Yeah.
because I can go to the parking lot at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
I could find like some like random nice car
Mm-hmm.
while I'm walking by, like, oh, that car is dope, and then have you take a photo,
Yep.
right? And be like, I could post this picture,
Yep.
right? And people will think that I have this car.
Yep.
I could drive into a random neighborhood when no one's home, back my car into the driveway, take a picture of this nice house, and you could do that, right?
Yeah.
So people, that's one extreme, but then the other extreme is that people make you believe that they're a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not actually that
Mm-hmm.
certain way. Like even just on this, the baseline of happiness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A lot of people who are projected on social media, like you were saying, how you were in high school, they're the same way. They think that I pass people in the gym
Yeah.
all the time, and I ask them like, hey, how you doing? And in the gym, they seem super happy, right?
Mhm.
Uh, and in the gym, they seem happy. On social media, they seem happy. But when I sit there and have a real conversation,
Yeah.
because I think people avoid me because they know,
Here
know,
it comes.
yeah, they know that's the mental health guy right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm gonna ask you the tough questions. Seriously am.
Yeah.
To an extent like this. If I ask you today, if I see you today and I say, "Hey Mo, how you doing?" and you say, "I'm okay,"
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna remember that. And then tomorrow, if I ask you the same question again
Mm-hmm.
and I say, "Hey Mo, how are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
and you say, "Oh, I'm great." Now I need to know what
What
changed
happened?
in the 24 hours that
Yeah.
went from good to great.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But one thing I've learned is that when people have made the decision to, uh, they made a decision and they come to like, you know, terms that
Mm-hmm.
this is what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're no longer necessarily sad
Yeah.
because they're just waiting for them to make their plan, I
Yeah.
mean, to execute their plan, right? So I think sometimes we take what we think is the easy road. We ask somebody, "Hey, how you doing?" And then they'd be like, "Oh, I'm great," and they'd be like, "Oh, that's good to hear." They're positive, so I'm going to keep it moving.
Yeah.
But I try as much as I can to take the time. It's one reason why my workouts are so long. I try to take the time and ask the questions. Not in a therapeutic way, like where I'm like, trying to like, so,
Mm.
are you suicidal today? Not like
On a
that.
scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah, nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's just more like, why are you so happy? Like, what's,
Yeah.
I want to know. And sometimes, usually, I don't know if it's true. I'm hoping it's true, but typically people are, it's a good thing. But
Yeah.
I've had a couple cases where I've had to have long conversation with people because come to find out that they're foreshadowing. I don't want to say lying. They're just kind of foreshadowing their true feelings. So, um, But real quick, what do you think about the podcast?
This is dope. Um,
What do you find dope about it?
um, One, just your energy. I mean, I think you're just a dope individual and easy to talk to you.
Appreciate that.
And I wouldn't have come here if I didn't think that. I would have been like, yeah, no. But just like providing the space to have hard conversation, um, is super dope. And just that you're doing this. I mean, this isn't your 9 to 5. This isn't just like you're doing this um, to help support other people um, and form like real connection. And I think that's pretty incredible.
I appreciate that. Um, and what I always like to do is because this is a space where we can hopefully touch somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've been through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we even got to like 5%, maybe not
Mm-hmm.
even two. Um,
Traumatized kiddo.
but we're all trauma. We've all
Yeah.
been through trauma, you
Yeah.
know. That's why I don't like the word PTSD
Yeah.
because for me, and this is not like a definition, but
Mm-hmm.
for me, I feel like PTSD, post traumatic stress syndrome, right, is a reaction to something that was traumatic, right?
Yeah.
So you think about a baby, they touch a stove
Mm-hmm.
and they get burned.
Mm-hmm.
That's PTSD. You ain't gonna touch that. You're gonna remember.
Yeah.
It alters your behavior, your way of thinking,
Yeah.
spanking, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
we all been through things. Some are just been a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but because you've been through so much, I think that you might be somebody who could help the next person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for somebody, some woman out there, some young woman who's watching this, or a grown woman who's watching this, who's going through some things, whether it's emotional or physical abuse, what kind of advice would you give them?
Mm. Man, that might make me a little emotional. Um, to choose yourself every time, even when it feels hard, even when it feels heavy. Um, that the greatest love that you're really ever going to experience is the love that you give yourself. Um, yeah, choose you and surround yourself with people or things that remind you of life. Because when you get to the bottom, you feel like that's it. And sometimes all it takes is like listening to the birds outside, or like sitting in the breeze, or eating good food, or sitting with somebody and laughing. Um, but just bringing yourself back and grounding yourself. Um, yeah. And setting boundaries. That's the other thing. Set some strong boundaries. Um, yeah.
Are these physical or emotional boundaries?
All of them.
Okay.
Say no. No is a sentence. Um, Protect your spirit. I think that's something that we don't talk about enough. It's like, oh yeah, like, protect your things and, protect yourself, but like spiritual warfare, if you would, is a real thing.
Oh, I agree.
So if I walk up to someone, or someone walks up to me and their spirit's funky, they might leave some of that on me. So make sure that you're protecting your spirit the same way you protect yourself physically and emotionally.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. But I appreciate you more for coming on,
Thank you.
sharing your story, and you will be in my prayers.
Thank you.
Most people who come on here, I kind of like, we have a
Mm-hmm.
conversation, and even with you,
Yeah.
I kind of like decompress
Mm-hmm.
afterwards. But you're somebody who I see often, who I consider to be a friend, and so I will be making sure that you're in my prayers.
Yeah.
And I will say, if no one's told you, I'm grateful that you did not choose the ladder in high school, and that you had a support system of your mom and your friends to get you through that. Because you're worth living, you're worth fighting, you're worth
Mm-hmm.
everything that it takes to keep breathing. Right? God made you; He took the time to make you. So you're worth it, and no one here should portray themselves as something that's bigger than you to
Yeah.
make you feel like you're not worth it.
Yeah.
So if no one's told you you're worth it, Mo,
Thank you.
you're a dope soul. Before you get out of here,
Uh
tell us, what do you do for work?
oh. Ooh wee. Currently I am it's a mouthful. I'm a scholar experience coordinator.
A what?
Um, Scholar
Okay.
experience coordinator,
Okay.
senior scholar experience coordinator. But I've been in education my whole life. So this is a nonprofit. I work with high school Black and Brown students in Pierce County, um, as they are their last year of high school, as they transition into college. We do mentorship. We do scholarships. We're a wraparound support system, just pouring back into our babies and helping them be successful.
Well, kudos to you,
Yeah,
man.
thank you.
Kudos to you. Reaching back and helping people, even though you're still working on yourself. That's
Yeah.
dope and admirable. For you guys who are still watching, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram at Minority Emotions underscore VDP. Follow us on TikTok as well at Minority Emotions the podcast. Don't forget to shoot me an email if you would love to come on and share your story. We'd love to have you. We all have a story to tell. Nobody's story is less than the others. Everybody's story can help yourself by talking about it and help somebody that's struggling as well. As Mo said, make sure that you're always choosing yourself above anything else. Make sure you always, fall back to choosing you. Like I told her, you all are worth fighting for. You're all worth it, right? So I make one of my clothing brands. I make a shirt that says "I am enough." So just remember, you are enough, right? And as always, make sure you check on your loved ones. Check on the people you don't like. Check on the people who you can care less about. Having conversations with, but make sure you check on them because everybody deserves to fight a fighting chance. Everybody deserves support, and everybody deserves to live. You guys be blessed. We out.
That's dope.
My dog.
I almost dabbed you up with the wrong hand.